Hola.
You're like me. Every time it's like, test, test, test. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Oh, man. Kindred spirits. Saying hola into the mic. Hey ladies, welcome to another episode of the Woman Podcast. My name's Katie Bizet and I am your host. And today we are so excited because we have Dr. Amy Beard with us, and we also have Angie Brown, who is on staff at New Life Church with us. And Dr. Amy is a functional medicine doctor, and she will tell us more about herself in just a little bit. But we're just so excited because we really believe that health is our whole person. It's not just about our physical health, but it's about our spiritual health, our mental health. And that's what we're going to dive into today. And so we're excited to hear from Dr. Amy, but Angie has been one of her patients at her clinic. And so Angie, would you just say hi to the ladies and introduce yourself? And then also, could you just share a little bit about your health journey?
Yes. Hello, friends. I'm Angie Brown, and I'm our creative pastor here at New Life. And so I work with our creative team and do all kinds of crazy stuff and work lots of long hours, which is probably why I needed to see a functional medicine doctor in the first place. But a few years ago, I got connected with the functional medicine approach. And so I had a lot of health issues. I had a golf ball sized nodule on my throat. The doctor said, oh, just have it taken out. I had weight issues. They're like, oh, just go on a diet. I was frustrated. They said, go on anxiety medicine. It was like, no matter what I said, it was like they had like a pill or a cure for it that was really a Band-Aid. And so I had someone who gave me some really great advice and talked to me about functional medicine, which was really new for me. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of health issues in my family. Last year, my mom passed away of cancer, and it was a long battle that she started in her early 40s. And what I found out is it was from high estrogen. So just lots of health issues that like have been in my family. And it turns out my sister and I both have Hashimoto's. Mm-hmm. And so for me, like figuring out that I could like have a more natural approach and solve root issues was a big deal for me. So over the years, I've had lots of friends asking me questions because they've seen me find freedom. Yeah. And to be honest, like there are so many products out there that you can just buy, and the marketing is fantastic because it's like it says the answer to your problem right on the label. Right. And so I had a cabinet full of junk that I was like, I can't tell if I took it or if I didn't take it. Is it working? But it costs $50, so I got to take the whole bottle. And so anyways, it's just been like a whole new world of just like light in my life by figuring out a different approach. And so I got connected to Amy through a friend who said, hey, you should just check out her Facebook videos. And I started watching your videos, Amy, and I was like, I like her and I trust her, which was a big deal because I, like I said, had a cabinet full of marketing products. So I started watching them and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I was traveling several hours to someone that I thought was helping me. And I got a long ways on my journey in functional medicine, but it was just so, it was not working for me and my lifestyle. And so I was like, I've got to go see Amy. And Amy's practice is completely online, which is awesome for me and my crazy lifestyle. So anyways, I just thought, man, I would love for all my friends who've asked me questions to also have access to what you're doing. And so anyways, we're so glad you're here today. And so I've, stalked you just a little bit. So I knew who you were. You didn't know who I was. And so I know that you obviously are married to your husband, Paul, which is also, he's very present in your videos, and that you guys are believers like we are. Mm-hmm. And it's been really encouraging to talk to Paul just about you guys believing so much that the spiritual aspect is so important. Yeah. And so we just wanted to have you here. We wanted to hear from you. We're going to ask you a bunch of questions that we think that some of our women, like, it'll just help them to, like, have a light bulb go off and just help them to know, okay, I can figure out answers to my problems without feeling overwhelmed by the research that's out there. So, anyways, you also, I know, are a patient yourself.
Yes.
And you're going to hopefully share a little bit about that. And then you live on a farm, which I can't wait to hear about. I think it's so fascinating. I actually grew up on a farm in Dogpatch, Arkansas, in the middle of nowhere.
Dogpatch.
But I am no longer country. I know that.
You're always country.
It's true.
That's right.
But anyways, I'd love to hear about that. But can you just tell us more about yourself?
Sure.
You know, how long have you been married? Where do you live? What's going on in your life?
So you've mentioned that I'm married to Paul. We met about a little over 8.5 years ago on Match.com, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was in doing my residency, and he was living up in Eureka Springs, and we somehow managed.
Wow.
And we knew instantly that
awesome.
first date. We're like, okay, this is one.
Wow.
Yeah. So. A lot of people don't know that I started out as a registered dietitian a long time ago. Mm-hmm. That's that I knew from an early time that our lifestyle was a big part of our health. Although I think I was taught a lot of not so correct things back then, and then wanted to learn more about the human body and how it worked, and went on to medical school, did a family medicine residency. And then learned quickly during the residency program that what we were doing was not working. Mm-hmm. The pill for your ill approach was something that I just did not really want to be a part of. And so I went straight to the ER. From there, I figured, for me, that was the best step to take, because I didn't want to be stuck in a clinic prescribing pills all day long to treat chronic issues and never really having time to address the root cause. Mm-hmm. And while I was working in the ER, all you saw were people with chronic issues on 20 different pills, and I'm like, this madness has got to stop. This is awful. And so I began a concierge practice. Still had no idea that the Institute for Functional Medicine existed. It was a chance meeting with a functional medicine physician that brought this all together. She started talking about things that I had never heard of in medical school and wanted to know more about. And at this whole time I had been struggling with my own health issues. That all this training in medical school and residency, and yet I was still not able to help myself. And how was I going to be able to help other people if I couldn't help myself? And so that's when this chance meeting came in, and she told me about this functional medicine approach. And so at first I was like, okay, this sounds like a bunch of quackery. I'm going to go attend one of these conferences. And I was blown away with the information that I was hearing. And there were other physicians there too, which made me feel a lot better. But then I started incorporating what I was learning in my own practice, and it was getting great results. I was helping people get off their pills. Wow. They were actually getting better and not being placed on more pills. So I knew I was on the right track, right? Mm-hmm. And I started incorporating these own principles into my own life, and I started getting results. And I was like, is this really legit? And so I signed up for every other conference right there on the spot. Wow. And completed my training, and have just seen the huge beneficial impacts on people's lives that this approach has, and I don't think I can ever go back.
Right.
It's like you see the light, right?
Yes,
and
sure.
So, and you used the word freedom earlier, and that's really what I feel like it has given me and given a lot of other patients is freedom.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so just to back up a second, for anyone listening that's like, what in the world is functional medicine? I've literally never even heard that term. Yeah. Could you describe that for them?
Sure. So functional medicine is not a specialty, okay? It is an approach. We work towards uncovering and addressing the root causes for your symptoms versus conventional medicine, which wants to know, what are your symptoms? And here's your pill and the procedure. Right. We want to know, tell me about your life.
Right.
And then And then it's all about understanding your diet, your stressors, your sleep, your activity, your environmental exposures,
Yes.
your goals, your beliefs, your attitudes, your spirituality. That all plays a big part, and it helps us uncover what truly is going on at that cellular level that's being expressed as those certain symptoms that you're having.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I know. I mean, even just in my own family, like Angie was saying, we've had some different health issues, and it's almost unbelievable when you have that sense inside of you that's like, this pill is not going to fix this. I want to know what's causing this.
Right.
And then when you sit down with your doctor and you say, could it be my diet? Could it be this? Could it be this? And they say, no, none of those factors even make a difference. We're going to just keep you on this pill. I'm like,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Like, you just want me to take this pill for the rest of my life?
I know.
So it's really encouraging, I think, to women. I mean, it's encouraging in general to anyone, I think, to have a shift in perspective that I don't have to be on this medicine my entire life. I don't have to deal with these symptoms my entire life, because there is someone out there that can help me find the root cause. So,
And it takes time. We've become accustomed to this overnight fix or the promise of the pill, and it does not exist.
Right.
Your health really depends on the choices you make, not what your doctor is telling you to do. Although if you listen to a functional medicine doctor, we can certainly help you get there quicker.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you were a patient yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Oh my goodness, that goes back till the time I was a child, and that's what we really do in functional medicine. We go all the way back to your maternal health, your mom's health at the time that she was carrying you. But I was a kid that was chronic strep infections, hyperactivity, was on multiple antibiotic rounds all the time. We lived in the middle of a cotton field, so we were exposed to lots of pesticides growing up in the Arkansas Delta, which has a very high cancer rate. And then it just kind of snowballed into, depression and anxiety as a teenager, which continued. And then I started having MS-like symptoms. They could never figure out what was going on. I was having, positive autoimmune markers and restless leg syndrome and horrible GI issues, and eventually had most of my colon removed. Gosh. And looking back, it was just all, I felt like a guinea pig for the most part, and it was all, no one was really working on uncovering why all this was going on. It was just, here, take this pill for this symptom. Oh, we need to do this procedure now. And yet my symptoms continued. And I'm like, what is, it was frustrating. And so I understand my patients when they come to me, because I've been there. I've been told you're crazy and you need to go see a psychiatrist. Yeah. And that is, I hear that all the time, and it makes me furious. Yeah. Just because your labs don't, just because the labs look normal, somehow you're supposed to, that's all you are is lab values, and that is so far from the truth.
Right.
It's just one part of the picture.
Right. I remember when they were like, you should probably go on some sort of antidepressant. And I was like, I am not depressed. I'm frustrated because they kept telling me, you can't change this. All you need to do is this. You can't change your symptoms at all. And so, anyways, it's frustrating for sure.
And you can change it.
Yes.
I am proof of that. I really am, and I see it through my patients' success stories too. And again, it really comes down to your choices.
Yes.
So you dealt with all of those issues, and then was it once you understood functional medicine that you started getting relief in those areas?
Absolutely. Okay. That's what saved me.
Okay.
Because I was not doing well. My health was very poor. Paul can attest to that. And I started applying the functional medicine principles to myself, and lo and behold, they started working. And at first I did not want to believe it because I didn't want to be let down.
Yeah.
And yet I just kept getting better and better. Not that I don't have bad days, because once your colon is no longer there, it does have its own
Function. Yeah.
problems. But because of functional medicine, I'm able to really optimize what remaining colon I have. And I'm on no pills. You know, I feel great. I think I'm doing pretty good for 47.
I mean, you look awesome.
Yeah, you look awesome.
Your skin is glowing. You look so healthy.
And all the doctors at your practice look awesome, because I look at the picture on your front page. I'm like, they're such pretty people. I'll take what they're doing.
No,
I know.
Now, yeah, we do have
You
a
guys
good
look amazing.
You know, but when you're feel good on the inside,
Yeah.
it shows through on the outside.
Right.
It really does. And I'm blessed to have the team that I have too.
Yeah.
They're a wonderful group of people who are just as passionate as I am about what we do.
That's awesome. So, practically speaking, what did you change in your life to see results,
Wow.
to see
Okay.
health?
Total change in diet. Being a doctor, I was addicted to caffeine, especially the Diet Cokes. You know,
need this coffee right here?
well, yeah. I mean, that's what you lived off of, because that's what helped you stay awake. My diet was horrible. It was like lean cuisines and Diet Cokes when he met me. It was awful. And
Paul just grimaced.
and I never realized that I had intolerances to eggs, wheat, and whey. And through an elimination and reintroduction diet, I was like, okay, this stuff is not, working for me. And so I cut it out, and so many of my problems went away. My restless leg syndrome went away, these rashes, the joint pain, the irritability, the sleep problems.
Wow.
It's amazing what happens when you address gut health. And other things, stress. Okay, I had to learn how to manage my stress, which meant saying no to things and not overscheduling myself. That's a problem a lot of doctors have, is saying no. I learned to take my sleep much more seriously and stop over-exercising. I was a competitive athlete, and so that need to keep up that rigorous training program for some unknown reason. I'm like, you're 35, Amy. What?
Yeah.
You're not going to be a pro at anything at this level. So
okay,
what are you doing?
wait. I need to know what you think about over-exercising, because I love to work out. And
Well, then that's okay.
Angie has added me to a group text
Yes.
where we have, it's called Workout Buddies, and we keep each other accountable.
Yes.
The goal is to work out 3 times a week. But I'm the one that's like, and I've worked out 5 times and I'm done.
Well, and for me, I did several half marathons before, which I'm by no means an athlete, people, for sure. I would do the last minute training because I'm competitive enough.
Yeah.
And so I would do that, and then boot camps, and I did CrossFit for a little bit, and all of these things. And that is one of the things I've shifted completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And I see that a
yoga
lot, yeah.
and Pilates, and I don't ever just go to the gym and do like a 30 minutes of crazy cardio and then crazy weight. It's like that was a major shift, because I felt like doctors were just saying workout. The recipe is work out harder and eat healthy, and
It will backfire.
yes, I had no idea I was causing stress for my body.
And and this is a conversation that we have to have with a lot of our patients. Is they think to lose weight they just have to work out harder, and it just backfires because they're putting more stress on their body. Your body is going to produce a lot more adrenaline and cortisol, which will just negate any type of weight loss efforts that you're putting forth. And so, exercise is kind of, you got to find the balance, right? Everything's about balance. And so you got to find, if you're feeling exhausted after your workouts, you're probably doing too much. I know people who were skimping on sleep so that they could get up early to go work out. Absolutely not. No. We have to have our sleep. And so, and a lot of women think that they have to do all this cardio and burning calories, and no. It's to me, I think it's more the Pilates, the bar, the weightlifting. Much less on the cardio.
Really?
And I'm saying this as a cyclist who was a cardio fanatic, an adventure racer, the 100-mile races. I did those, and that's probably another reason why my health suffered, is because I was just putting too much on my body.
So if you were sitting down with someone and helping them develop an exercise plan for their life, you would not suggest cardio. You would say more weightlifting and lower pace. Lower impact.
I'm not anti-cardio.
Right.
I have to have some. It's just how much. If you're an Olympic athlete, that's one thing. That's what your job is.
Yeah.
You're resting, you're eating well, and then working out is your job. But we have people who are working out like Olympic athletes who are also moms, dads, have full-time jobs, and trying to cram that all in is just too much.
Yeah.
You kind of have to, again, find the balance.
Find the balance. That's good. So you mentioned earlier that stress is a major factor playing into your health. And, we talk to women all the time. It's like, it seems like everyone's at their wit's end, cramming your calendar full of meetings. Night times are full. People are just maxed out.
Yes.
And so can you just talk a little bit about that? What impact does stress have? How would you minimize it? What does that look like?
So I think what I find is people underestimate the amount of stress in their life. They think that just because they've been doing it for so long that they can keep doing it. And I'm telling you, at some point, your body's going to reject it, and you're going to end up just in the bed, not able to get up. And we see this all the time. Like you said, just these jam-packed schedules. And people don't even perceive that they are under stress because they're not even slowing down, to take deep breaths and get a grip. So, when you're constantly stressed, your body is in that sympathetic tone, okay? And it's producing a lot of cortisol and adrenaline. And that a little bit is good. We have to have some stress, okay? But chronic stress will destroy your body. It will break it down. It's going to interfere with your immune function, your gut function, your hormonal balance, your sleep. It's going to make you depressed and anxious. And so we just have to kind of have people step back. And I even have my patients schedule deep breathing sessions. Like, they put it in their phone and it goes off every hour, and then they know that they take a few minutes just to sit there and take deep breaths. And a lot of people, I think, they're going, and I think they don't think they can be efficient if they just kind of slow down a little bit. And you'd be amazed if you just gave your body a little bit of a break every day, how that is going to, the positive effects it's going to have on your body, and you'll even be more efficient.
Right.
A good night's rest. Come on, I can really knock it out the next day if I've had a good night's rest. But stress often interrupts.
I was confused on
sleep.
Really what stress was.
Yeah.
Because we work, for what we do here at the church, it's a very fast-paced environment, and we love what we do. It's all good stuff. It's all fun stuff. So for me, when I was asked the question, are you stressed? I was like, no. It's because it's all good stuff, and I didn't see it as stressing to my body.
And that's a big difference too, because I don't want to say if you love doing what you do, stop doing it because you're doing it too much.
Right.
And I think we all manage our stress very differently.
Right.
Positive stress doesn't tend to have the effects that some type of, if you're doing something you really don't want to do, or it's a toxic work environment, that's very, very different than being in an environment that you're in, where you feel like you're called to do this and you're supported, and that's a big difference than some other scenarios that are out there.
Yeah, I've had to tell myself, look at the schedule. I sit down every week and it's where can I insert balance? That area has gotten that looks a little bit jam packed, or it's going to be very exhausting. Where do I insert balance into it? Because I had to see it differently. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so you're running your own business, and you have a farm, which is not free of work. It's not pretty and Instagram pretty when you run a farm, I'm sure. A lot of us think that it's easy. And since stress is so detrimental and you're teaching de-stressing, how do you find balance in what you're doing right now?
I think the big thing for me, and I know it's probably a big thing for others, is I've limited my time on the phone and social media. I think that's a big time suck for a lot of people, and it causes a lot of anxiety and anxiety for people. So I Paul and I have been working on that ourselves, is doing a bit of a digital detox and just getting off the phone and getting outside. I think nature therapy is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be spending time outdoors,
Yes.
not inside under, AC, heat, and artificial lighting. So for me, getting outside, taking a walk in the woods with my dogs, working in the garden or something like that, or being creative, I think is something I see a lot falls off everybody's plate. And I think it's a very necessary part of being human. It's just, for me, that is what helps me de-stress.
Being outside.
Being outside.
Yeah.
I'm just one of
totally agree.
those people. When the sun is out, I am super happy. So I'm ready for it to come back out again.
Yes.
I know.
Will it ever show itself again?
No. January in Arkansas, my
It's
goodness.
a tough one. It's a
rough.
tough one. So you have to and that's what I tell my patients is, yes, this is not the best time of the year here, but when the sun is out, take full advantage of it
Yes.
and expose those retinas to the sunshine, because it really helps your circadian rhythms, just FYI.
Okay, side note, what's it like to be married to basically a farm-to-table chef?
It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
This has got to be a dream.
It's so funny. I tell Paul, I'm like, I'm always so disappointed when we go out to eat because your food
Right.
is so much better.
Right.
Wow.
And this is even going to the really fancy restaurants that are farm to table. I'm like, they just cannot compete with Paul.
I can assure you no one says that about my life. I wish we weren't going out to eat because your cooking is better. Oh,
So
Lord
it's
help.
but Paul is a in addition to being a farmer and a chef, he's also an engineer, and he's an athlete like me too. We both love our animals, and so he plays a huge part in the business too. I mean, because we're of the same mindset.
Yeah.
That's really kind of what brought us together, and that's why we clicked so well, because we really feel like, we were kind of on the functional medicine approach when we didn't even know what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it has a name.
Now it has a name and a face and a business, and that's so awesome. Okay, so to the women that are listening, if you could just give any practical advice, some starter steps for someone that's listening that has some health issues and wants to take control of their health, what are like the
Basics.
Let's get started down this path.
Okay, so I encourage everybody to work with a health coach, just because they are going to be objective and they're going to help you explore things that you weren't even considering. Okay, and they're really good investigators. But and I even have my own health coach. Okay, I'm a physician who needs a health coach because we all need accountability.
Yeah.
At least I do. I would say clean up your diet first and foremost. This can have one of the biggest impacts on your health right there. And that can be there is no one perfect diet.
Right.
Everybody needs their own individual diets. We all have our own genetic predispositions, needs, lifestyles. But just cleaning it up, getting rid of the processed foods, going organic when you can, it really is important. I would say, so cleaning up your diet, getting active if you're not, and that does not mean you have to go start, running or doing CrossFit,
Right.
but just yoga, Pilates bar, a little weight training, getting outside walking, whatever, can go a long way. I want you to take your sleep seriously.
What does that
Sleep is paramount. I don't care how clean you're eating, how much you're exercising, whatever. If you're not getting enough sleep, your body's not going to work right. And people always think that, I'll just catch up on the weekends. You can never get back your sleep once you've missed out on that. You just can't. So,
How much sleep?
studies say, not less than 7. They show some increase in chronic disease when people are getting less than 7. I would say somewhere between 7 and 8 hours. We're all different, I know some people who get 6 hours and they feel great. Those are the little
That's not me.
outliers.
That is not me.
No,
I need like 10.
yeah, and that's okay. And it also depends on what you're doing.
I don't get it, but I need it.
Y'all, when I was pregnant, I am telling you, I slept probably 16 hours a day.
And you needed it.
It's like I needed 12 at night, and then during the day, I would just fall asleep.
And it kind of, if you're working out a lot,
I'm a sleeper.
you need probably a little more. For me, I'm an 8-hour girl. I can go to sleep, and 8 hours later, I'm going to wake up. So so getting your sleep, watching the stress. Sometimes we need to simplify, and this is where a health coach can really help to help you know when you're just pushing it too far. But the stress again is a big one. I think and to clean up your environment, we are exposed to so many nasty things these days. I read some research where the typical female leaves her house with around 128 chemicals on her face and body. From your makeups, your shampoos, your conditioners, your perfumes, your lotions, the dryer sheets you use to make your clothes smell all good. Those are all chemicals, and they are endocrine disruptors. So clean it up. And when we do detoxes on people, meaning we just really focus on the nutrients your body needs to detox, you see chronic symptoms start to improve.
Wow.
So there's definitely something to it. And I do know that over the last 60 years, the EPA says there's been 50,000 new chemicals introduced into our environment. So I don't know how the human body is supposed to adapt that quickly to all those chemicals. So you just have to do your best at going natural.
Yeah. Okay. Angie, don't you have an app that you use for this?
I do. I use the Think Dirty app, but it's not perfect for all. It doesn't have all products in it. And I think you guys have a couple options to use. I just can't remember. But I guess about a year and a half ago, I switched all my makeup products because someone asked me, have you checked your skin products? Because I have high estrogen. And I started looking through, and I was using what I thought was like clean products. Clinique, it's clean.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started looking at each item, and it was like, well, that is an estrogen mimicking product in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this work, and no one told me that I'm just putting it on my face, which I've always had horrible skin. And so I was like, it's like once I removed that, it changed my skin. And I'm I'm 41 years old.
Your skin looks beautiful.
It's not perfect right now, but
it's beautiful.
I am 41 years old, and I've never had good skin. Wow. It's always been terrible. And I just thought, I'm destined to always have this. And when I took the makeup and switched it changed, and I was amazed. I was like, I cannot believe I've been doing all this stuff, and no one told me that there was stuff in my makeup. So, anyways, I took every product in my house. I used that, and then there was another site that I used as well. I cannot remember what it was.
Oh, there's so many out there, and now, of course, I can't think of the name.
And then sometimes you have a product and it doesn't show up on those yet. It's like
exactly.
But for the most part, I was able to like really just clean up my products, and that made a massive difference.
Yeah, and people don't understand. You have bacteria on your skin. It's there for a reason. It's there to keep you healthy. And a lot of the products are just destroying your skin's microbiome. We always talk about the gut microbiome, but there's a skin microbiome also, and a lot of those products just really destroy it and wreak havoc on it. So I just say go natural whenever. Look at your cleaning products, your beauty products. That's why we tell you to go organic and non-GMO. So you're not getting all that glyphosate and everything else in your food, because it's going to impact the way your body functions.
So start with cleaning up your diet.
Yep.
Sleep,
yes.
Working on de-stressing, less stress in your life.
Physical activity.
Get
outside.
Sunshine. Clean up your environment.
Yes.
Things you're putting on your skin and in your house.
Great place to start.
Okay. That's 5 or 6 things.
Yeah.
That's very simple. It feels doable. And like Angie said, I think Angie mentioned this at the beginning, it's like health is such a complicated fog, I feel like, whenever you're listening to so many different voices. And it's hard to know where to look and who to listen to. And so that's what I think we wanted to have you on today to share just the basics and get us started somewhere. So,
And it's overwhelming. There's so much information out there. And Paul and I, that's what we do. We research all day long. And it takes you down a lot of rabbit holes, and you discover a lot of things. But for me, it's all about finding the truth, and no matter where that takes me. And so that's one of our, that's what we spend a great deal of time on, is just researching, because there is so much out there.
yes.
Okay, I have a random question.
Sure.
This is a truth moment. Like, if you could pick one food that there would be no aftermath and it would be considered really good, like just a binge that you would like to have, which food would you pick?
Are we talking about bad foods?
Bad foods. The bad foods that you don't eat now.
Well, Paul, I have so many.
French fries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like which French fries?
Oh.
McDonald's.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's my vote.
Which French? I don't know. That's a tough one. But yeah, I think French fries.
Yeah.
I'm Irish.
Yeah.
Potatoes. It's my thing.
With ketchup?
Absolutely. I put ketchup on just about everything.
Yeah. And what ketchup do you eat for those people who are like, I'm not giving up my ketchup? Like,
I try to go for the ketchup that is non-GMO or no corn syrup and organic. So those varieties.
No corn syrup.
Yeah, I don't know corn syrup.
I'm taking so many mental notes.
yes.
Man. Okay. Last question. If you could give any advice to women just related to health, I know we talked about the basics, but is there any last thing that you would like to share just with the women that are listening about what they can think about, what they can learn about, what they should consider for health?
You can do it.
Yeah.
It's not as difficult as you think. It's not going to require the sacrifices you think it's going to take. A lot of people don't want to change their lifestyle, but we're not asking you to do a total overhaul. Now, some people we do because it's that bad, but minor changes can go a long way. And please give up the illusion that you are in control, because you're not. God's in control. You just give up that illusion, and give up the illusion of perfection too, because it does not exist. And I see a lot of women striving for that, especially in their appearance, and it takes them down some very unhealthy paths.
Can I just tag onto that question really quick? Is there anything you would say to younger girls? Because it's like I see a lot of the people who come to me and they're like, hey, I'm struggling with this. It's usually by the time you get into your mid-30s or past when really you start to see your body break down from all of these things around you. And so, but when you're younger, you're invincible.
Right.
And it's like I wish that someone had told me some of these things when I was younger. Like, what are some things that you would even encourage the younger generation to be aware, because they are in our culture. They've been exposed to all of these toxins plus extra things that we didn't have when we were younger. So what would you say to them?
That you will, God willing, be old at some point. So you want to take care of your body, everybody wants to focus on the outside, but you better be taking care of the inside, because you want it to work right when you do get, old, whatever that means to you. I never thought I'd reach 47. I remember thinking 30 was old, and here I am getting close to 50. And so that's what I wish somebody would have told me when I was, so worried about my outward appearance, that taking care of the inside is what is you're going to really wish you had done when you reached 30.
That's good. Man, well, thank you so much, Amy, for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
I know, and I think this is going to spark a lot of conversations, a lot of questions, and so we may be sending some people your way.
Oh, that'd be great.
And I have a couple things. So I know you do, we didn't mention it, but you have a few places that if people want to follow what you're doing, you have your website, amybeardmd.com.
And then you have Facebook, of course, Amy Beard MD.
Yes.
And then I'm also on Instagram.
Yes.
Those are probably the two biggest.
Yes, on Instagram it's at amybeard_MD.
Yes.
But if you want to check out any of her videos on Facebook, it's good to just hear her speak on different topics. I love how you speak on different trending topics. So if it's like there's this fad diet out, you're going to like basically
Break it
down. And or, you know, if there's like something that people are struggling with, or if it's hormones or whether it's sleep, like you're going to hit on those different topics. So it's always helpful.
Yeah, and Paul and I will be we're working on our podcast. And so this is what I'm really excited about, because there's only so much you can do on social media. We really want to get into the meat of things on our podcast and provide a functional medicine approach from a more practical standpoint, because it can really get weird.
Yes.
That's what I've noticed with a lot of functional medicine practices. And I think we bring a little bit of practicality to it. I'm not out there asking you to give your intentions to some crystals, okay?
Yes.
And it can go, I mean, I'm serious. I'm like, what are we doing?
True.
Okay. And I think it's a big put off for a lot of people who don't necessarily hold to those types of
crystals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who knew, right?
Who knew? Yeah, I'm excited for your podcast. And we will make sure, ladies, if you're listening and you want, if we've mentioned a resource, we will make sure that it's in the show notes. So the app that Angie was talking about, any websites that Dr. Amy would suggest, her Facebook, and then we'll be definitely sharing when her podcast releases. So before we close, Angie, would you just pray over the ladies related to health, and then we'll be done?
Yes. God, I thank you for this conversation today. God, I thank you that you give us wisdom. God, wisdom comes from you, and you give us wisdom on how to live for you, God, and take the best care of our bodies. God, I thank you for this moment that we've got to sit down with Amy, and we pray over her ministry, God, that you would just bless it. God, we love what she's doing. We pray over her podcast, God, as she takes that journey, and I just ask that you would just bless her for all of the time that she's investing into other people, God, to help them with something, God, that feels very overwhelming to them. And I just pray that as our women are listening to this today, God, that you would just help this conversation to help them unlock questions in their lives and in their health, God, that they've been stuck on, and that it would be a place of encouragement for our women to grow closer to you, God, in their relationship, but also in their health journey. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, Dr. Amy, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
And thank you, Angie.
Yes, thank you.
All right, ladies, thank you for listening to another episode of the Woman Podcast. Like always, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and subscribe and share it with your friends. And if you want to stay connected, you can follow us on Instagram at Woman Conference, and we have a Facebook page as well where you can start the conversation. So we'll see you soon.